Yeah.
Okay. So hello everyone. Just before we start, my name is Ahmad. I'm in the mentorship team with AJ. So this is a kickoff meeting for Stephen and Princiya. So if we can go around and introduce each other, if you want to start, AJ.
Sure. My name's AJ. I'm a member of the mentorship team. I'm just helping get this first round kicked off, and that's pretty much about all I'm doing right now. I was working on an app. I guess that's about it.
Okay. Stephen?
So I'm Stephen. I work at Elastic on the APM product. I've been working in performance monitoring tooling for about 6 or 7 years or something like that. I started the Diagnostics working group under the Node Foundation shortly after the IOJS split years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Princiya. I am based out of Berlin. I used to work for Zalando, the e-commerce fashion in Europe. But last month I joined a digital health startup. It's called Smart Helios, and I work as a front-end engineer. Over the years, I've been working as with JavaScript, into full stack, and then now mainly focusing on front end. I heard about this Node.js program on internet, and I was like quite excited. So yeah, I applied, and I'm glad that I'm participating. Thank you for selecting. That's in short about me.
Okay, it's nice to meet you, everyone. So I'm thinking if I'm gonna share the meeting agenda on the chat. We're gonna briefly discuss the process of mentorship, the duration and the graduation process. Then I'd like if Stephen can introduce the diagnostic a little bit, talk about the process, what he thinks is going to be in the scope he's going to mentor at, and after that, we're going to leave you to discuss the expectations you have for the project, Princiya, and what do you want to get out from the mentorship, basically, between you and Stephen. Also, we're gonna briefly discuss the availability, when you're gonna meet, and the times and stuff like that. And also, we're gonna review the code of conduct to make sure we're all on the same line, and what to do basically in case of escalation or stuff like that. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, AJ, do you wish to talk about the process a little bit, or you want me to?
I'm going to let you lead on this one.
Okay. Okay, so basically, this is this round is going to be a beta round. We're going to do it for 1 month only. Our hopes is to test the process we have for the mentorship. As you know, there's lots of assumptions made to get this started. So we're going to test this. So it's really important for you to give us feedback, and so we can iterate over the program and make it better for everyone. Also, as you can see, we don't have many mentors. We're hoping to get more mentors in the next rounds, but at the moment we have around 10 applied mentors versus 800 or 900 mentees. So the distance between the variation is really huge. So we're hoping for the first round to have more mentors available for the next rounds. So hopefully, like if you enjoyed the project and you feel like you're able to mentor Princiya, it would be awesome to have you as a mentor in the next round. Basically, mentorship is not teaching. Like you don't have to be an expert in the topic. You just need to know basically how to route the questions and basically achieve or help achieve the goals the mentee has. So for example, if I'm familiar with diagnostics, like I can give a brief introduction on the diagnostics and help my mentee achieve the goal that we've set. Cool. And also, at the moment, Nick was not able to join this meeting, but he'll be talking with you after the meeting. Nick will be helping you if you need any questions or if you need to provide feedback for the project. You can contact anyone from the team, me, AJ. Also, we have Dan and Ajiri. So you can chat with them on the Slack channel, and you can contact us on the emails we have or on GitHub. The only requirement we have, or I'm not sure if it's the only, but the requirement we have for the program itself is to have a mentorship diary. It's an issue that you can open, or I can open it for you on the mentorship team. Basically, you just comment on the milestones that you've achieved, or record or the meetings, or submit recording of the meetings that you've had. Like we require this for two main reasons. The first thing is the moderation team has all the tools revolved around GitHub. So we figured like to have the process central around GitHub is the best way to have the moderation team like step in anytime it's needed. And also it will give us like a better way to track progress and share progress with other people. I can provide you an example. So at the moment, I'm a mentee for Dan Shaw. So I can provide you a link with a mentorship diary between me and him as an example. It's issue number 79 in the mentorship repo. I shared it on the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, I'd like to hear from you if you have any questions or like any things you want to clarify about the process of the mentorship.
Not too much at the moment.
Okay. So this is basically it. For the like we've discussed the process and the duration. Basically, the graduation, like as I told you, we're hoping to have you both like as mentors for the next round. Like hopefully when like we gain more traction towards the project, we'll have like more swag revolved around it and stuff like that. But for now, the graduation is just like moving mentees to mentors.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. Also, for this round, since Stephen is in the diagnostic working group, we're hoping, of course, you can like coordinate with each other. That you, Princiya, can join the meetings that they do. I believe it's every 2 weeks. I'm not sure if you can.
Yeah, it's generally every 2 weeks. It gets canceled semi-frequently due to conferences, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so whenever meetings happen, like it would be nice to invite Princiya to the meetings, just so she can like get to know the project more and the process more.
Yeah.
So if you can like introduce the diagnostic a little bit, I'm very interested to know as well. So there's yours.
Yeah, so the diagnostics working group kind of originally came out of just a focus on tracing. So I've been working in application performance monitoring for years, and basically in Node, just like the application performance monitoring market tries to like just create a sort of flame graph of what happens within a request, and we try to build this sort of tree of causality of like inside of this requested database request happened, and then inside of that database requests call back, another thing happened, and then just like form this whole tree to describe what happened in the request and like all the timing information.
Mhm.
But the issue was that building up that correlation is really difficult in an asynchronous application, because it's going to be hopping back and forth between requests constantly. So there'd been lots of attempts to try and like create basically just ways to track that continuation. So Forrest Norvell, who was at New Relic at the time, created continuation local storage, which was this module that just like patched everything in the world to try and like hack together this continuation thing. And it worked, but it was slow, and like it was in user land and had to like patch everything, and there's risks to that. So he tried to push to have that sort of functionality merged into Node Core. And so eventually Trevor Norris took over that and built Async Listener, which kind of worked for the problem, but had a bunch of edge case issues in it, and just ended up being kind of problematic. And like domains was built on top of that, and that became its own problem. And it just seemed to be a much more complicated issue than the original naive implementation suggested. So we kind of formed a tracing working group to like think in more detail about what are the actual needs of the tooling, and to identify like what all the edge cases are that we have to be concerned about. Like initially, we hadn't really thought about like one of the major issues is what we call userland queuing, which is like at any time you like put a function in an array and then like grab it later to execute from somewhere else, you've lost the context of where that function was actually created, and so the continuation of that disappears. So we realized that we actually need to have like a userland facing way to bind the context of things. A bunch of things like that made it complicated. But anyways, that's what started the working group, was trying to deal with that. And then there's kind of a couple other working groups around it that were sort of forming, and there was like postmortem debugging, all those sorts of things. Like Microsoft and Google were starting to get involved in, and so some folks from Microsoft and from IBM kind of stepped in and mostly took over like running all the meetings and stuff. And then we just kind of like we expanded the scope beyond just tracing to general diagnostics tools. So we started to handle like the debugger and things like that. And we're just continuing to add more stuff to our responsibilities.
Interesting. I want to ask if like the async hooks are part of the resolution from the diagnostics.
Yeah, so async hooks is one of the things that we're involved in, but I haven't personally been super involved in it recently. It's been focused on other things, but Yeah, async hooks is basically the successor to async listener. It simplifies things and deals with a bunch of the edge cases and has like a userland facing interface. So now you can actually deal with the user mode queuing problem and things like that. It's an improvement. It still has some slightly concerning areas to figure out. But it's definitely a process moving forward.
Awesome. Princiya, do you have any thoughts on this or questions?
At the moment, no, but no questions right away. Yeah, right now I'm trying to contain my excitement.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is not like a set in stone answer, but what do you have in mind, like for the expectations or goals you want to set during this mentorship round? Like, what would be the goal for you to achieve from this diagnostics call, so Stephen?
From my end, I just want to help people find something to be interested in diagnostics area. I don't know what's interesting to you over there. We'll figure that out, I guess.
I'll just jump in real quick and say that we designed this program to be Menti driven. So Princiya, you'll get to pretty much decide what you would like to work on within, the framework of, or within the context of diagnostics, and pick a project that's interesting to you. And Stephen will do his best to facilitate that with his knowledge of how things work.
Yeah, great. I'll post this link. Yeah. I was going through the README of the diagnostics group, and the issue which I posted about time travel debugging seemed interesting. I did my bunch of contribution to debugger.html for Firefox, and they have just released time travel debugging. I didn't get to work on that, but yeah, so this issue for Node.js looked quite nice. Yeah, and if there's still scope, so maybe I would like to do something around time travel debugging.
There's been some discussion around, there's time travel debugging in Chakra Core, but there's nothing in V8 currently. But it's something that the people working on V8 have talked about considering doing. And so there's been a little bit of discussion in the NAPI area of things about trying to formalize what an abstract API to time travel debugging would look like.
Mm-hmm.
They want to build that in so we can support it across all our JavaScript engines. So that might be an area that would be interesting to you.
Yes. Yeah, but in general, I'll be happy to pick up just about anything around diagnostics, about debugging, or maybe document all this process. Considering 1 month, I'm not sure how much can we achieve, but yeah, I could also use my latest new hobby of drawing tech cartoons. So I like to take a technical topic and write some detailed documentation, or come up with detailed cartoons explaining about it. So yeah, if that is something valuable, maybe I could jump into that aspect as well. Yeah.
So that brings up a good point. For a lot of people, they're going to kind of get put in a scope they may not be their first choice because we have so few mentors, and anyone's free to switch to a different scope after the initial duration. But if it is a scope that you are very interested in, you would like to continue with, I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see any reason you couldn't pick a goal that takes longer than a month. You don't necessarily have to complete it within that month. You can just, the goal can be to get the process started, like, get time travel debugging up for discussion in the working group, that kind of thing. Does that sound reasonable, Ahmad?
Yeah, I do believe like even if the goal is like super ambitious, we can like have a few milestones covered during the 1 month period, and of course it'd be awesome like to continue on this path. And even like if Princiya like becomes a mentor for the next round, she can like push forward this journey with the mentee she's gonna have. This kind of thing, I guess. And also I want to say like at the moment, like it's good to set like general goals, but it's okay like during the first few meetings like to iterate over the goal and get it more precise or change it completely, depending on like the context and what's suitable and what's not. For example, like the NAPIs require C knowledge, I believe. So if that's like not something you're interested in, you can like choose a different goal or a different aspect from that part. That's just my process of thought. I don't know if Stephen, like, you know better about diagnostics.
Yeah, well, there's lots of stuff under the umbrella of diagnostics. So, yeah, it's just a matter of finding what you want to learn about and point you in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Welcome, Nick.
Hi. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is Nick, I've told you about. If you can introduce yourself, Nick.
Because I'm with family and because I don't have a lot of battery left.
Yeah, your voice is cutting off. Like at the moment, I'm not sure if I'm the only one.
But as we iterate. I'm from Paris. English is not my first language, so I'm sorry for any grammar mistake. And I'm having this role because I've been both teaching and being so I try to bring my experience in that matter to this program. And that's it. That's the end of my little talk.
Thank you, Nick. We're very happy to have you. Before you joined the meeting, I told them like Nick will be contacting you since he's not able to join this meeting, but we're happy you're here. Your voice was cutting off a little bit, so I didn't follow up on everything that you said.
I think one thing he said was that he's got a limited amount of battery left on his device, so he may not be here for long.
Yeah, so Nick will be available on Slack, and he will be basically getting feedback from both of you about the mentorship and the process itself, and also the experience you're getting out of mentorship.
Okay.
Okay, so like during this meeting, I would love to like bring like initial draft for the like the goal that you want to start working on, Princiya. So I believe there's two main things that you've mentioned, or the first is the time travel, and you've also said like you're interested in like debugging in general. So I'm not sure if you can like provide more like your thoughts on this, Stephen, and what do you think is possible, and especially during this like 1 month time frame, and what could be like achieved afterwards.
Well, a lot of the initiatives that happen within the diagnostics working group are fairly long-running things. So it's difficult to just like grab a thing that you can like discreetly say that this will be done in this amount of time, but like you can kind of you can find areas like I could at least like get you like set up to have a direction and like be able to keep pushing on something. So, yeah. Other than that, like there's been like a handful of like smaller tools within diagnostics that are like relatively quick to build and like understand the space around it. But we do have somewhat of a heavy lean towards like C++ native kind of stuff in a lot of the stuff that we work on. But there's a handful of tools that are like pure JavaScript that are a little easier to wrap your brain around.
Yeah, so C++ wouldn't, I think I would prefer JavaScript instead. So you think, are there any smaller things or relatively smaller things which are like easy to get started and try to understand the bigger picture through those maybe?
Yeah, so there's always the possibility of like building tools on top of the existing stuff that we have. So like you can look at Nearform has a bunch of tools they've been building. The names of them, but there's like Bubble Prof and some other things. Yeah, there's always the possibility of just like building stuff on top of like either the like async hook stuff to like try and track and like display what's happening within a process in some interesting way, or there's also some things you can do with the debugger output. There's like the debugger protocol that you can do stuff with, and there's also the just like CPU profiler dump JSON, things like that you can work with. So if you want to do like some visualization stuff, probably do some interesting stuff with that data.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the idea here would be take this the CPU JSON dump and try to build some meaningful visualization out of it, right? Okay. Yeah, I think that's also okay with me. Okay, so to list the goal, maybe we start with that, with the CPU profiler dump data. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay. And
Sounds
then,
great.
yeah, maybe like during this month, if you could point out or like give me inputs about time travel debugging or help me get started, then I think, yeah, that would be also like something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. If, yeah, on the long run, if somehow if I could be involved in the longer run, so during this month I'll use this time to get involved, or yeah, do read up all on the research, and yeah, something like that. I think that should be good.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Okay, we're running out of time, so like I need to go over this. Like if you can try to get a little bit quicker, because we're not on a paid plan. Sadly, I'm using my personal account on Zoom. Like I need you to discuss the availability, like when you're available, both of you. You can direct this as you wish. You can create doodles, you can chat on Slack and set up the meetings. But if you can basically set the meeting dates and times, like how available are you to do this weekly, or as you wish.
Yeah, which time zone are you based in, Stephen?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada, so that's like 8 hours off.
Yeah, okay. So it's morning now for you.
Yeah, it's 8:30 a.m.
Okay. And yeah, here it's almost like evening, and 5:40 p.m. now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall I write you on Slack about the availability?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, do you have like preferences for the days?
Not too much. I have meetings on like Tuesday and Wednesday morning around this time, but other than that, like the rest of my time is usually fairly open.
Okay, great. I'll write you on Slack then.
Okay, sounds good. Just make sure to coordinate that based on the goals that you're gonna try to reach. So just keep that in mind. Okay, and finally, I want to share with you the code of conduct of Node. During submitting the forms, this was basically I agree on the terms of agreement. I just want to make sure that you have a look at this. It's really small. Basically, the standards of Node is trying to use inclusive language and welcoming language, being respectful and accepting constructive criticism, and focusing basically on the goals of mentorship. Yeah, so I just wanted to highlight the code of conduct. Also, I want to have your input about recording these meetings. It's completely optional, but to have the benefit for the whole community in general, it would be awesome if you record the meetings, just so people who want to get involved in diagnostics in the future can just watch your videos and use that as a tool to get started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sounds great. I've been using Zoom recently, and it's really convenient. There's a record button that you record. You can use any tool as you wish, but in Node we're using Zoom, the foundation Zoom, not this one. So you can like record on Zoom or use other tools as you wish. As for uploading it, you can upload it on YouTube, or you can upload it anywhere and submit a link in the mentorship diary. Because the recordings are gonna be large, so I don't think like we can upload them as pull requests on GitHub. But if this is possible, like I'm not against this as well.
I would generally advise against putting large chunks of binary stuff in Git.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, everything
Okay,
seems good to have.
sounds great. Is there anything you want to say, like as a closing?
I don't know. Don't think so. Just looking forward to getting another person interested in diagnostic stuff.
Awesome. Princiya, do you have any questions or thoughts?
No questions, but yeah, I'm really looking forward for the upcoming month, and let's see what we will achieve together.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm very glad like this kickoff meeting is really nice. I'm happy to meet you, both of you. And hopefully like I'm available on Slack and AJ as well, and anyone in the mentorship team. Like I'll be looking at the mentorship bio, mentorship diary. If you wish, I can open it. Like we can continue this discussion on Slack. Yeah. So thank you.
And Nick will be in touch as well.
Great. Yeah. Okay. We have less than a meeting left.
All right.
So.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
You too.